Hello everyone, welcome to course study on solid mechanics. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss the concept of polar moment of inertia, polar modulus, strength of the shaft, torsional stiffness, power transmitted by the shaft, etc. etc. So, first of all, we will discuss the concept of polar moment of inertia. So what does the polar moment of inertia means? It is the moment of inertia of a plane area with respect to an axis perpendicular to the plane of the figure, and it passing through the center of gravity of that particular area is known as polar moment of inertia. It is denoted by the letter J, and mathematically it is given by J is equal to integration of r square into dA. So what does it mean? So the polar moment of inertia of an element will be the resultant of the product of the element area and the square of its distance from the axis. So what is polar moment of inertia? It is the resultant of the resultant means integration, so we are adding all those value, so it's a resultant of the product of elemental area, that is dA, and the square of its distance from its axis, that is r square. So mathematically it is given by J is equal to integration of r square into dA. So this is the polar moment of inertia, and its unit is mm raised to 4. Note, it is a quantity which is used to specify the body resistance against the twisting. So polar moment of inertia, it is used for the purpose of its internal resistance for the external applied twist. Therefore, it is the strength of the body against torsional loading. Okay, so we are going to calculate the value of polar moment of inertia for a circular section. So the first circular section is solid shaft. We have two cross section only, a circular solid shaft and a circular hollow shaft. So first of all, we will discuss for the solid shaft. Remember that mathematically it is the sum of moment of inertia about x axis and y axis. Therefore J is equal to this one, J is equal to Ixx plus Iyy. So Ixx for a given solid shaft is pi by 64 d raised to 4 plus Iyy also same, it is pi by 64 d raised to 4. So on adding both the values of moment of inertia, we have polar moment of inertia for the solid shaft is equal to pi by 32 d raised to 4. This is the value of polar moment of inertia for the solid shaft. Now we are going to derive the polar moment of inertia for a hollow shaft. From this figure, we have a hollow shaft which has a diameter capital D and the internal diameter small d. So it is a hollow shaft. So J is equal to Ixx plus Iyy. For hollow shaft, we have Ixx pi by 64 into capital D raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4. This is the value of Ixx, whereas Iyy is also same, therefore plus pi by 64 capital D raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4. So on adding both the value, we have polar moment of inertia given by pi by 32 into bracket capital D raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4. So this is the value of polar moment of inertia for the solid shaft and for the hollow shaft. Both the values are required for the purpose of internal resistance for the externally applied twisting moment. Now we will move to the second concept, that is polar section modulus or polar modulus. So here it is not module load, it is modulus. Instead of D it is S. So it is a polar section modulus or polar modulus. Remember that in unit number 3 we have discussed the concept of section modulus. Now in unit number 4 we are going to discuss the concept of polar section modulus or only polar modulus. So what does it mean? is defined as the ratio of polar moment of inertia, that is J, of the shaft section to the maximum radius of the shaft. So remember that polar section modulus, it is the ratio of polar moment of inertia of the shaft section to the maximum radius. Remember that we have to consider the maximum radius, that is at the extreme fiber. So it is capital R. It is denoted by the letter ZP. Polar section modulus is denoted by the letter ZP and its unit is mm cube, or we can say it as a centimeter cube also, because it is the ratio of polar moment of inertia to the radius. So polar moment of inertia, it is in mm raised to 4, whereas radius it is in mm. So mm raised to 4 upon mm will become mm cube. So this is the polar section modulus definition. Remember that polar modulus is also known as torsional section modulus and is a measure of its strength in resisting the torsion. So it's a strength of that particular shaft to resist the external twisting moment. Mathematically, the polar section modulus is given by Zp is equal to J upon R. It is denoted by the letter Zp, which is equal to J upon R. Therefore, for solid shaft, we are going to derive the value of polar section modulus. So we have Zp is equal to J upon R for the solid shaft. Therefore, J is pi by 32 d raised to 4 upon radius in term of diameter is given by d by 2. So pi by 32 into d raised to 4 whole upon capital D by 2 will become Zp pi by 16d cube. This is the value of polar section modulus for the solid shaft. We are going to find out the value of polar section modulus for the hollow shaft. Again, the formula is same, Zp is equal to J upon R. Only the value of J for the hollow shaft we have to consider. So it is pi by 32 into bracket capital D raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4 whole upon capital D by 2. So on solving this particular equation, we have polar section modulus for the hollow shaft Zp is equal to pi by 16d into capital D raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4. This is all about the polar section modulus. It is a measure of internal resistance for the externally applied torque. Now our next concept is strength of the shaft. Strength of the shaft is the ability of the shaft to resist the action of twisting moment. It's a simple definition of strength of the shaft is the ability of the shaft to resist the action of twisting moment is known as the strength of the shaft. Therefore, we are going to find out the value of twisting moment resisted by the shaft. We have the greatest twisting moment resisted by the shaft is given by, which is equal to maximum permissible shear stress into the polar modulus. So the strength of the shaft can be determined by a maximum permissible shear stress into the polar modulus. It's a product of these two particular quantities. Therefore, strength of the shaft we have T maximum, because it's a ability of shaft to resist the action of twisting moment, maximum twisting moment. Therefore, we have T maximum is equal to tau maximum into polar modulus. This is the mathematical expression of the strength of the shaft. Now we are going to find out the value of strength of the shaft for the solid section and for the hollow section. So for the solid section we have shape torque, that is T maximum is equal to tau maximum into pi by 16 into d cube, because as per the definition we have discussed, we have greatest twisting moment resisted is equal to maximum permissible shear stress into the polar modulus. Therefore, for the solid shaft we have shape torque is equal to tau maximum into pi by 16 into d cube. So the unit is Newton mm, because tau max it is in Newton per mm square, and whereas the polar section modulus will be in mm cube. So the mm cube upon mm square, so will remain mm, so the unit will be Newton mm. This is the strength of the solid shaft. In the same manner we will discuss for the hollow shaft. Shape torque for the hollow shaft is given by T maximum is equal to tau maximum into polar modulus, that is pi by 16 d, capital D, into bracket d raised to 4 minus small d raised to 4. It is given over here, and the again unit is Newton mm. This is the strength of the shaft. Now we are going to discuss the next concept, that is torsional stiffness. So what is torsional stiffness? It is the torque required to produce the unit angle of twist. So remember that we are going to calculate the value of torque and which will produce the unit angle of twist. So how to find out the torsional stiffness? So as discussed earlier, we have torsional formula T upon J, which is equal to tau max upon capital R, which is equal to G theta upon L. So in that we are going to concentrate on two equations, that is T upon J, which is equal to G theta upon L. And from that equation we will find out the torque required to produce the unit angle of twist. Unit angle of twist means the angle of twist is unit 1. Therefore from this equation we have T is equal to G theta into J upon L. G theta into J upon L. But as per the definition of torsional stiffness, we have theta is equal to 1 because we have to produce the unit angle of twist. So the angle of twist should be unit 1. Therefore theta is equal to 1. So if I put theta is equal to 1 into this equation, I have torsional stiffness T is equal to Gj upon L. So the torsional stiffness is given by Gj upon L, and its unit is Newton meter per radian, because if you put the value of G, that is Newton per mm square, J it's a polar modulus, polar moment of inertia, and the next one is L. So it will become Newton meter per radian. So the unit is Newton meter per radian. Now we are going to define another term, that is torsional flexibility. What does it mean? It is the angle of twist produced by unit torque applied, that is, it is the reciprocal of torsional stiffness. Remember that torsional flexibility, it is the reciprocal of torsional stiffness, and it is the angle of twist produced by the unit torque applied. Now we have to find out the value of angle of twist produced by the unit torque applied. So the value of torque is unit. Therefore torsional flexibility is given by, this is not y is equal to L upon Gj, actually it's a torsional flexibility. The entire name is torsional flexibility, which is equal to L upon Gj, which is equal to 1 upon torsional stiffness, because it is the reciprocal of torsional stiffness. So the unit will become radian per Newton meter. Next concept is torsional rigidity. Torsional rigidity, it is the product of rigidity, modulus of rigidity, it is also known as shear modulus, and the polar moment of inertia. Therefore mathematically it is given by G into J. Torsional rigidity is given by G into J, and the unit is Newton meter square, or we can consider in mm also, Newton mm square also, kilonewton meter square also, as per the required, but it is in force into a distance square. So this is the torsional rigidity. Now we will move to the last concept or last definition of the torsion, that is power transmitted by the shaft, because the function of the shaft is to transmit the power from one part of machine to the another part of the machine. Therefore that is very important concept, power transmitted by the shaft. Let P is equal to power transmitted in kilowatt. Capital N is equal to number of revolutions per minute, it is per minute, and capital T is equal to average torque in Newton meter. So P is the power transmitted in kilowatt, that we have to find out. Capital N is the number of revolution per minute, and capital T, it is the average torque in Newton meter. So remember that this power transmitted is nothing but it is the power transmitted is equal to the work done per second. This is the main concept. Power transmitted is equal to the work done per second, but we have number of revolution in minute. So first of all we will calculate the work done per minute, then we will move to the work done per second. So the work done per minute is given by, work done is the force into distance moved per minute, because the definition of work done is force into a displacement. So it is given by work done per minute is equal to force into distance moved per minute. So force is capital F and the distance moved per minute is 2 pi rn. It's a revolution of that particular shaft per minute, 2 pi rn. So all of you know that F into R is nothing but it's a torque. Therefore we have 2 pi nt. Work done per minute is given by 2 pi nt and the unit is Newton meter per minute. It is in per minute. Now we have to convert 2 pi nt Newton meter per minute into second. Therefore work done per second is given by force into distance moved per second. Remember that in this case we have find out for the work done in minute. Now it is work done per second. Therefore it is given by F into 2 pi rn upon 60. So we will divide it by 60. We are converting minute into 60. Therefore the unit will be Newton meter per second or watt. So remember that 1 Newton meter per second is 1 watt. After converting it into Newton meter per second or watt, we have 2 pi nt upon 60, because T is equal to F into R. This is in watt. We will convert it into kilowatt also. Therefore we have another equation, 2 pi nt upon 60 into 1000. So that is 60,000. 2 pi nt upon 60,000. So it will be in kilowatt. So regarding it, we have 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. So 1 joule per second is nothing but it is 1 Newton meter per second. We can express power in term of horsepower also. So remember that 1 horsepower is equal to 750 watt. So this is the power transmitted is equal to work done per second. Remember that we have to convert it into work done per second. So this is all about the definitions which are related with the torsion. In the next lecture we will solve the numericals based on the stresses and strain power transmitted by the shaft. We will stop here. Thank you.